Welcome, my fine audience, to a new and exciting game we are playing for this month of October called The Monster Inside. This is a visual novella by Random Sea Games. This game involves a string of murders, a mysterious woman, and a man with a hidden past. Let's begin, shall we? My head pounded, ears still ringing slightly. Some of the worst nightmares I had had in years left me feeling like I'd been punched in the jaw. But just like any other day, I dragged myself to the office. There was another notice on my door from Mayor Vinetti's office. Permits out of date. They didn't like me much, and they were trying to drown me in paperwork. It was a slow month, weeks, since I had had any real case to work on, so I passed the time pacing the office, smoking and staring at the mirror in the corner, safely covered with an old bedsheet. I don't dare look at my own reflection. I'm too afraid of what I might see, afraid someday I might have to face what I really am. The dame came in so quietly I nearly choked on my own cigarette. Mister, please, you gotta help me, mister. Yeah? What can I help you with? Please, no one else will listen to me. Go on. She eyed me with just a dash of suspicion as I tossed back a hand full of pills and chased them with a swig of whiskey. I could tell this might take a while. Her name was Lilly. She told me she was his mistress, the man all over the newspapers, the infamous banker, Mr. Reginald Farnsworth. Mr. Farnsworth was a drunk, philandering bastard. But this girl seemed genuinely concerned that he had recently gone missing. Less concerned about the fact that Mr. Farnsworth's wife had just turned up dead in Central Park not but 2 nights ago. You don't understand. He couldn't have done it. He hated his wife, but he couldn't have killed her. Everyone thinks it was him, and no one believes me. He's gotta be in trouble. I ain't saying I'd believe you, but what makes you think he's in danger? Well, mister, Jack. You can call me Jack. Jack. Whoever did that to his wife must have been the one who took him. He would never have left without me. He promised me. I'm sure Mr. Farnsworth promised this poor girl a lot of things. Please, the cops won't listen to me, and they want to bring him in on charges. You gotta prove it wasn't him before they find him. Honestly, I doubt they're in too much of a hurry. Farnsworth had practically the entire police force in his deep pockets. Probably why they hadn't found much yet. If they found him and brought him in, it would be due to the public pressure. Sometimes a mob with pitchforks is more dangerous than one man with money. You've got my curiosity, but you might not like what I find. Oh, thank you, Mr. Jack. Thank you, but please, be careful. I don't think this was just any murderer or kidnapper. I think it was a beast. Beast. The word struck me funny, like when you jar your elbow hard on the corner. Not a word many use these days, except in hushed whispers and bedtime stories to children. Oh, they were real enough, all right. They just got better at hiding, controlling their unseemly urges, but I hadn't seen any monsters in nearly 15 years. Back when I was still a cop myself. Leave the detective work to me, Toots. Let's not jump to any conclusions here. I just have a feeling about it. Something tells me you can get to the bottom of it. You're good at this sort of thing. Sure, can't you see how busy I am with the cases? I replied a little too harshly. Sarcasm was my strong suit. I reassured her some more and sent her on her way. I hadn't wanted to scare her, but I warned her before she left to keep her doors locked and call me if she saw anything suspicious. I didn't know if she was in danger herself, but better safe than sorry. That night, I made my way down to Central Park. It was a long shot, but maybe there was something there the cops had missed. This is cigarette noise. I don't actually smoke, but I want to be cool. Film noir. The scene was already picked clean by the cops days ago, but I've got a knack for finding the things that others overlook. The crime scene. A knack. More of a symptom of a condition. Other, less useful symptoms I keep in check. But for the time being, my keen sense of smell would come in handy. This man's a werewolf. I'm calling it now. He's a werewolf. You all heard me? I'm on it. This is my case. Call me Will Graham, Hannibal style. This man is a werewolf. But let's look. It was faint, but I could smell it before I even approached the police line. The scent was less of a thing and more of an emotion. Seduction. A strangely familiar smell. I expected the scent of trepidation or maybe even outright fear, but Mrs. Farnsworth seemed to have been at the height of pleasure when she left this world. Ooh, girl! Getting randy in the park. Yes, Miss Farnsworth. Brought new meaning to a crime of passion. Pushing the thought from my mind, it was time to get down to brass tacks. Look at that. Muddy footprints everywhere. Difficult to pick out anything from the prints the cops left behind in their haste. But the cops don't wear $2,000 pairs of Carquinos. Fancy shoes, I assume. There's marks. There's marks. It looked like Miss Farnsworth was there that night and walked away on his own 2 feet. Mr. Farnsworth. A burn mark on a nearby tree caught my eye. I ran my fingers along its length and it felt a chill down my spine. This wasn't just any burn mark. This was the mark of an ancient magic. It's doubtful the cops would have picked up on it. Could Lilly have been right? Something unnatural was at play here. But I was no stranger to the strange. After looking around for a while longer, I realized the park had given up all it was hiding from me. So I trudged back to my apartment, and my head hit the pillow like it owed me money. The next morning, I was reeling from another bout of ghoulish nightmares, but I tried to hide my discomfort when I saw Lilly was already sitting outside my office. She waited wordlessly as I unlocked the door and ripped down another notice from the mayor's office. I motioned for her to step inside. Seemingly afraid what I might say, she finally worked up the courage to ask. So, what did you find? Ooh, which one's more cagey? I like this one. Not sure about beasts, but something unnatural was at play. Unnatural? How do you mean? I can't give you all the details, but I'm looking into it. What does that mean? What about Reggie? Do you know where he might be? There were signs he was at the scene and slipped away. My tone was indifferent towards her as I turned and grabbed a bottle from my desk drawer. A dryness in my throat made it difficult to swallow my meds. Girl, you ever get your meds stuck right at the bottom of your throat because you dry swallowed them and you didn't take any water or juice with them? Real pain. But you don't know where he went? Do you think the news this morning is related? What news is that? Haven't you heard? Nope. Rough night followed by a rough morning. They found the police chief's wife dead down by the docks. They say it happened last night. Let me guess. Chief Amato is missing too. My face might have betrayed a hint of satisfaction as she confirmed my suspicions, but it faded quickly. Amato was a shit cop and a shit chief. He was half the reason I left the force, but now his wife was dead and I had more questions than I had the day before. The gears in my head started to spin, which wasn't helped by the splitting pain at my temples. I told Lilly I needed time to work. She left slightly dejected, wanting more answers than I could provide. That night, after the cops had cleared out of the docks, I would slip down and see what I could uncover concerning Miss Amato's untimely demise. The cold air smelled strongly of salt and oil, and... could it be? That smell again, like someone had bottled pure arousal and used it as a perfume. It hit me like a long-forgotten memory, but the sensual fumes soon gave way to a rush of adrenaline. I knew exactly what the scent reminded me of, and that scared me more than not knowing. I looked down at my hand, shaking the nightmares, the headaches. No, I was better now, reformed. I had to focus, no jumping to conclusions, follow the evidence. What is all this shit? Red Phoenix cigarettes. Same shitty brand I smoked every day. Everyone's got their vice. Ah, yes. There, just there. The smallest piece of purple fabric torn and caught in the splinter of a board. The police report didn't say anything about Miss Amato wearing purple, and it was certainly of a quality that wouldn't expect down here. Don't see too many high society types around flaunting royal purple threads. I pulled out my own pack of reds and lit up. I could already feel another headache coming on, but looking out over the waves seemed to help me forget. The cold helped me push down the uncomfortable thoughts that had been bubbling up to the top of my brain. I honestly don't remember the walk back to the office. Apparently, I spent the night in my easy chair. The air from the docks lingered on my clothes. It was still dark out. No, I checked the clock. How long had I been out? Had I really slept through the entire next day? A newspaper was sitting under the door. I stood to fetch it and nearly fell over. A wave of nausea hit me like a ton of bricks. I steadied myself and regained my composure. Before I even picked up the paper, I could already read the headline. Two cases is a coincidence. 3 is a pattern. The cops could come asking questions soon. They knew I had a history of antagonizing all the victims. I stumbled to my desk and slammed back 3 days' worth of inhibitor pills. I couldn't take any chances. I had to investigate the scene to be sure. I threw on my jacket and went to the door. Lilly caught me off guard on the other side. Jack! Where are you off to? I've been trying to reach you all day. I'm sorry, Lilly, but I haven't the time to talk. I have to go. Okay, But we need to talk when you get back. Stay safe. She gave me a soft kiss on the cheek as I rushed off. Part of me wanted to stay and tell her it'd be okay, but it would be a lie. The alley was located just behind the high-rise apartments where Mayor Vinetti and his wife lived. I could tell the police were spooked now. The last crime scene was even sloppier than the last. They hadn't even bothered to submit the trash into evidence. I'm gonna sniff the trash then. Why wouldn't they at least look through the dumpster? It seemed untouched. No one wants to do the dirty work. But I know how to find the good stuff. It really doesn't take long if you know what to look for. Lightweight bags usually meant someone was dumping documents. If you were lucky, they didn't bother to shred them. Jackpot. Shell companies, shady stock trades, bribes. I knew Mayor Vinetti was crooked, but this was unbelievable. And there was more. Letters between Mayor Vinetti and Chief Amato talking about me. How they were trying to get me to shut down. They didn't like me snooping about crime scenes all the time. Well, they weren't here to stop me snooping around this one. The door. Vinetti's car. If he's still alive, why wouldn't he have left it in his car? It didn't make any sense. I honestly wasn't too motivated to find him, but the stakes were too high. And my bet was edging towards the unthinkable. As I searched around for anything that might have assuaged my fears, I caught the scent again. It overwhelmed my other senses with undulating pleasure. It was intoxicating. A weapon used on the weak-willed. A weapon I knew all too well. Thought it had been many years since I had used it. Was there another like me? Was I being framed? It wasn't possible, was it? I was taking my inhibitors. I was reformed. But the nightmares, the headaches, the memory lapses. I couldn't even trust myself. I started walking back out the alley when something shiny caught my eye. A watch. Not just any watch, though. My watch. How long had my wrist been bare? Surely I just dropped it when I left. How long had my wrist been bare? Surely I just dropped it when I first came down the alley. I checked the time just before I left the office, hadn't I? Or had I used the wall clock? I couldn't be sure. I couldn't be sure of anything, so I ran. I don't know why I ran back to the office. The cops would probably show up any minute to knock the door down and cart me away. They would put it together before long. Maybe it would be best for everyone if I simply faced my own reflection. But Lilly was still there waiting for me. Jack, what's wrong? You look like you've seen a ghost. My own ghost, come back to haunt me from the past. You're not making any sense, Jack. Come, sit down. You don't understand. You're not safe around me. I took a good last look at her and I prepared to shove her out the door. I noticed she was wearing the same thing she had when she first came to my office 3 days ago. A beautiful purple dress. Odd that I hadn't really noticed before, but it made her seem out of place, out of time. And it was frayed around the edges, torn in places. My chair caught my fall as my knees failed me. It was you. You're the monster, Succubus. Oh, Jack, we are one and the same, you and I. We are both monsters. I'm simply more honest with myself. There's no such thing as reformation. Those pills you take only make you dull. Beasts like us should never suppress our true natures, as you have, incubus. Oh man, I was wrong! No! It's a sex thing, y'all. Dang! That's good. I mean, you should have tipped me off because they were all like, sweet pheromones, delicious. Yes, son. Yes. Those men were probably dead too. I figured she probably took them to her lair and harvested their seed. So, you've done all this just to wake me up? You could say that. Though it seemed enough just to have you doubt yourself. You believed you were still capable of such horrors, which means deep down you probably are. You can't escape it. Now I need you to complete the deed. Don't act like I didn't do you a favor. Those men hated you and wanted you gone. And now they're gone. I mustered the strength to stand, moving casually to the window by the corner. She was right about one thing. I was dull, weak compared to her. If I refused her and she attacked me, I was a dead man. I had to keep her talking. I've never met a succubus who seduces and kills women. Please. Such a 14th century stereotype. I don't discriminate when it comes to pleasures of the flesh. Yes, ma'am. Oh, LGBT friendly. She don't care. She's pansexual. She'll come after you. I mean, it's not good. She's gonna kill you no matter what you got going on. The question was it worth it? Wink. But I do still need an incubus like yourself to take the tainted seed I've harvested from those awful men and plant it among the fertile masses for me. I'm tired of draining my lover's Justice 5. I'm ready to settle down and start a family. That maniacal laughter. I positioned myself carefully, making sure she was looking at my direction. Sorry, Toots, but I'm not your guy. With a quick flick of the wrist, I whipped the old bedsheet off the corner mirror. Lilly was blinded by her own reflection, and sucked into the mirror with a painful, monstrous scream. Trapped. Shielding my own eyes, I pulled a revolver from my desk side drawer, aimed it at the mirror, and fired. Nice! Yes! Just goes to show you, sometimes the monsters are the ones we keep inside. What's up? That was so good. Anyway, thanks for watching, kids. I hope you enjoyed this little story and our Halloween-a-thon. Thanks for stopping by, and until next time, ciao.